Hello and welcome to The Hindu. I'm Priyali Prakash and you're watching Tipping Point, our weekly show where we dive into climate change events and the trends shaping our future. In this week's episode, we'll take a look at the outcome at the 2024 Climate Conference of Parties, which was held in Baku, Azerbaijan, and the recent spate of storms that have hit the Philippines. 2024's biggest climate conference, COP29, spilled over into an extra day on Saturday, a day after its scheduled concluding date. This was because the participating countries were not happy with the 250 billion US dollars a year promised by rich countries by 2035 in the draft text of the new finance deal. This money is meant to help vulnerable countries deal with global warming and transition to cleaner energy. The draft text was first published on Friday. On Saturday, the Associated Press reported that rich nations proposed raising the offer from 250 billion US dollars to 300 billion US dollars, which is still lower than what has been demanded.
I now resume the 11th meeting of the CMA. I invite parties to turn to agenda sub-items 11A, new collective quantified goal on climate finance. I hereby invite the CMA to adopt the draft decision contained in document CMA/2024 L.22.
A statement released by the Azerbaijan COP29 presidency on Friday, the scheduled last day of the climate conference, said that the new collective quantified goal called on parties to scale up financing climate action for developing countries to at least 1.3 trillion US dollars per year by 2035. This goal is to be met through public and private sources, but how that will be done is unclear. There are no specifics mentioned related to what this investment will be, whether it will be money given as a loan, a grant, or in any other form. The statement also said that parties should work together to achieve this goal, rather than pinning the responsibility on developed countries, which are responsible for most historical emissions. The previous annual 100 billion US dollars commitment, which was finalized at COP15, the Copenhagen conference in 2009, has been increased to 250 billion US dollars by 2035. This is also vague because the official text asks developed countries to take the lead but doesn't explain how they will do so. Climate advocates and researchers are not happy with the draft text. Vaibhav Chaturvedi, senior fellow at the New Delhi-based Council on Energy, Environment and Water, called it a sham. He said that this is a bad deal for developing world, even if the COP29 presidency is trying to portray it otherwise.
I regret to say that this document is nothing more than an optical illusion. This, in our opinion, will not address the enormity of the challenge we all face.
Climate activists urge the participating countries to reject this deal, saying that no deal is better than a bad deal. In a social media post, climate activist Greta Thunberg called the draft text a complete disaster. She added that it is full of false solutions and empty promises. The Philippines has been battered by a relentless series of typhoons over the past month, with 6 major storms making landfall. These powerful storms brought excessive torrential rain to the islands, along with high-speed destructive winds, and caused flooding, landslides, and widespread damage across the Philippines. More than 150 people have been killed so far in the spate of powerful storms, which started with Tropical Storm Trami that made landfall late in October. The latest one to hit the Philippines was the super typhoon Man-yi, which was also one of the strongest. 4 of these storms were spotted developing simultaneously in the Pacific Basin earlier this month, which is a rare occurrence. It wasn't the crisis caused by the previous 5 storms too, and according to ReliefWeb, more than 10 million people have been affected so far. Emergency shelters have been crammed by displaced people, and the storms caused quite a lot of harm to infrastructure, homes, and agricultural lands. Even though the Pacific Ocean sees typhoon activity all year round, most storms form between May and October, and this year's November storm activity has been unusual. According to the data collected between 1991 and 2000 and analyzed by NASA's Earth Observatory, West Pacific usually sees 3 named storms in November and one on average becomes a super typhoon. The World Meteorological Organization's State of Climate in the Southwest Pacific 2023 report had noted that sea surface temperatures here have increased 3 times faster than the global average since 1980. This has led to more marine heat waves, which are not only more intense but also last longer. Warmer oceans contribute to more storms. We're wrapping up today's episode with a hopeful note from COP29, which is the Baku Harmonia Climate Initiative for Farmers. The initiative was jointly launched by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and the Azerbaijan COP29 presidency. According to the organizations, the Harmonia initiative will serve as an aggregator and help farmers navigate programs that work to support climate-resilient transformation of agriculture. There is substantial research to indicate that the way we grow and consume food needs to change to support our activities focused on mitigating climate change.
One of the most exciting partnerships that is going to be launched at COP29 on climate change is the Baku Harmonia Climate Initiative for Farmers, an initiative of the COP29 presidency of Azerbaijan to help support farmers in terms of accessing finance, to support us as a global community to come together and bring our initiatives together to have the greatest impact possible in using agri-food system solutions to confront the major climate challenges that countries are facing.
The Baku Harmonia Climate Initiative is also expected to facilitate finance in the field, but no details of how exactly that will happen are available as of now. The initiative is expected to focus particularly on women and youth and help create climate-resilient villages and rural communities. Thank you for watching this episode of Tipping Point. If you found this discussion insightful, don't forget to subscribe to The Hindu for more updates and in-depth climate coverage.